Hey, I want to talk about a moment that almost everyone has when they're buying a home and it gets misunderstood all the time. It's that moment when you walk into a house and think, I like this. Not love, not excitement, just like. And then you leave. And instead of fireworks, something else happens. You start thinking. And because we've been told we're supposed to feel instant certainty, that thinking phase suddenly feels like a problem. So let's clear this up. Knowing it's the right home usually doesn't start with butterflies. It starts with liking it enough to want to see it again. Butterflies are loud, they're emotional, they're intense, and butterflies are your nervous system going, big decision, big feelings, everybody freak out a bit. But knowing something fits your life shows up differently. It sounds like, I liked it more than I expected, or I keep thinking about it, or I want to walk through it again. And that's not hesitation. That's interest turning into consideration. And here's where things usually shift. The second showing is where the magic actually happens, and not the Instagram kind. The first time through a house, you're absorbing the big stuff, the layout, the light, the location, the general vibe. The second time, you notice the details. You notice how the kitchen actually functions, where shoes would pile up, if mornings would feel rushed or smoother, whether the space supports your routines or fights them. You stop looking at the house as a listing and start seeing it as a place your life would unfold. That's not excitement. That's alignment starting to click. A lot of people think if they don't feel immediate certainty, they're settling. But settling doesn't invite curiosity. Settling feels heavy. It feels like convincing yourself. It feels like overriding discomfort because you're scared nothing better will come along. Liking a home enough to come back and notice more details, that's discernment. And I see this all the time. People say, I don't know why, but I keep thinking about that one. They replay the walkthrough in their head. They imagine a normal Wednesday there, not a highlight reel. They picture where they drink their coffee, how evenings would feel, whether life would feel easier or harder. That pondering phase is not doubt. It's your brain and body catching up to each other. Because intuition isn't always loud. Sometimes it's practical. When something fits, your body often relaxes. Your shoulders drop, your thoughts slow down instead of spiral. And that calm can feel confusing if you're used to chaos or big emotional spikes. So instead of trusting it, people often second guess themselves. They compare it to something flashier. They talk themselves out of it because it didn't feel dramatic enough. They wait for a feeling that never shows up. And later they say, man, I should have trusted that one I kept thinking about. There's the part no one tells you. Most people who end up happy in their homes didn't decide in a dramatic moment. They decided after sleeping on it, seeing it again, letting the excitement fade and the clarity remain. Knowing didn't feel like fireworks, it felt like the questions quieting down. They stopped mentally negotiating. They stopped trying to talk themselves into or out of it. It just made sense. That's knowing, not instant certainty, not butterflies, just alignment that holds up when you picture real life. So if you walk into a home and think, yeah, I like this, and you want to see it again, and the details start to matter more than the vibe, pay attention to that. That's not you being unsure. That's you making a thoughtful decision. You don't need instant love. You need something that continues to feel right once the emotions fade. If I like it turns into wanting to look closer and imagine real life, that's not hesitation. That's usually how knowing starts.